All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm Trez,
I'm David.
and we got another special guest with us this week. Introduce yourself for us.
My name is Jalen Johnson. Is that like what you want to do?
Hey, you can tell me anything.
Yeah. You could have popped out.
When someone thinks Jalen, what do you think about first?
When someone thinks me, people think Jalen, like, first of all, Jalen's like really basic. You know, at least I think so. Some people say, "Oh, I never heard of that." Some people be like, "What is that? Like, what culture is that?"
Right.
And that gets me off guard because don't you hear Jalen all the time? But,
I know a couple of Jalen's. Yeah.
But definitely, Jalen derived from Jalen Rose, which was the basketball player for the Fab Five with Juwan Howard.
Right.
Yeah. Juwan's my middle name. I guess my dad, wherever he is, like, was really feeling that name. So.
Is that sports thing still lingering with you, or are you kind of like whatever?
I'm definitely a sports guy, though the name sets no like importance right now. I love basketball. Like, I wouldn't say more than football. I played football for 8 years.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but basketball, it's like I feel that rhythm. Like, I really love playing it, but it was like it's too late for me by the time I started wanting to pick it up.
Yeah. Well, I can't really say much because being 5'4", I don't even think about basketball. I don't consider it like basketball. What? Basketball, huh?
Yeah, right.
But like, anywho, like when it comes to school, like what you major in, what stuff you trying to do?
Right. So my major is international business. I'm also studying Japanese. They don't have a Japanese minor.
Ooh, I'm actually taking Japanese. I'm in 204, language based.
With Takagi Sensei?
So, yeah.
She's
So
awesome.
I'm out here. I'm out here with the Nihongo.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, man. That's cool. So international business and Japanese and, all your classes in between. So,
So what made you go international? Like, because you want to travel, things like that, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah. Well, first, like, I'm mixed. Like, my mom's Laotian, and then I'm black. So I've always had, like, this international kind of perspective, from the jump, though people gain it, through life naturally. But I kind of had it from the beginning, and I wanted to take that perspective and kind of capitalize it. So I wanted to study abroad and do the traveling, learn languages.
So like, what languages do you know?
Well, I grew up learning Laotian.
Okay.
But I really didn't care to learn it. I definitely understood it when it was spoken to me.
So you just understand it?
Yeah, like come eat, get clothes on, let's go.
The basics.
Yeah, just to get around. But eventually when we moved around a lot. And eventually that kind of died down, became more English, and I just completely lost any Laotian that I knew.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And that's still cool, though, because like, even when you say this, like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like, ooh.
You don't really hear that often.
Nah, not at all. So it's like you hear like the certain specific cultures, but like that, like
that's random, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so, what business? Like, what made you do like the business element? Like, you just I know you do entrepreneurship, basically, right?
Yeah. So with international business, I mean, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. Right. I did know that I wanted to be international. I didn't know there was international global studies, though international business is more, I guess, my forte, I think, than learning just strictly the culture. Because obviously when you learn other cultures, it's important to learn how to implement it in the business world.
Exactly.
And that's where I'm coming from with that. So it just kind of fit, and a lot of people in UCG ended up changing majors quite frequently. But unfortunately, I never had to do that, which is cool.
Right.
Yeah, that is good because you don't have to worry about that switch up and the big old change. Like, I'm also 1-on-1s, but I mean, I'm only doing 2 years here anyway. But so I couldn't really change, but it's one of those like set in stone what I'm trying to do. Yeah. So like anything outside of school that you do that's like of importance or something that's like you passionate about, things like that.
Right, like activities.
Yeah.
Man, like pretty much everything I do that I'm like really putting a lot of time in is outside of school. The only thing I'm putting a lot of time in school that is school, right? Like studies and actually going to class in the caf occasionally when I get swiped in.
Just trying to make it through, man. Just here so you don't get fired.
Exactly. But
sense.
What I do outside of school, so primarily, well, what I say first is that I'm the leader of an organization called Cross and Dagger. Though it'd be more accurate to say it's a network. And when I say network, it means like the people that I know and the connections that the people within the network have. We use each other and we benefit off of knowing certain people to achieve particular goals. Right? So, there's different creatives, different, artists, different mediums that use the network to achieve whatever endeavor that they're, partaking in.
Yeah.
And what I try to do personally within that organization is I try to be that network, that middle guy, and also provide guidance and a foundation, a pathway that some people didn't know how to take. You know, you can be an artist, you know, you can be a musical guy, but you may not know, you know, how to get gigs.
Right.
You may not know how to capitalize on what you do to be sustainable, because that sustainability is the key. So,
Yeah, and I checked out the website, and like I was mentioning before, like I like the fact that you mentioned, you know, being a network to help people do this, that, and the third. But I like how you kept bringing back the element of like creation and how like creating something is important to us, and you even listed like from things of, you know, just art or talent, even like relationships and things like that.
Yeah.
So like you always had this mindset of like creativity being important to people.
Yeah, man. Like, I feel like creation is one of the most natural highs that we can get as human beings, because the creating process is awesome, but when it's finally done, you know, whatever it is, or if you're in the stride of your art, it's just this crazy satisfactory feeling. It's euphoria.
Yeah.
And I felt that when I was young, because when I was really young, I used to be really and I'm still in the anime. I shouldn't fret. Hey man, anime and manga, man. And I used to make manga. Like, I used to draw it, and I would,
dope.
I was in like 4th grade, and I would draw, and I'd go to my mom's work and print them out and go to school the next day and sell them for $1 a piece.
Yo,
Right?
Look at you.
Yeah, and when people would pay for it, they'd come to me after school, like, you know, the thug kids that was in the hood, like, man, I can't believe you let that guy get punched. Like, they knew I was like the mastermind. Is like, why you write it like that? And I was like, man, it's just a story.
Because we all know deep down they still watch Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
So they had that foundation there.
Yeah, everyone was watching them Saturday morning cartoons. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. Like, that's mad dope. Like, you say you do that. Any other things you do as far as like creativity?
Yeah.
Like, in that spectrum versus like just art?
Yeah, so I also do the Downtown Ambassadors, which is an organization underneath my internship that I like, I didn't create it. One of my bosses created it, and what I created within that organization is a foundation, a structure for students to come and utilize skills such as business partnerships, event planning, and marketing. And I think that was essential because, first of all, it lets me give back, you know, to the students, and as I'm going older, you know, I feel like there wasn't that many opportunities, you know, straight in my face. But the way that I, you know, created is I threw these opportunities into these students' face, and I made the, you know, the application process easy, you know, and when they joined and they got immediate experience. And like, I'm really proud of that thing that I created too. So it wasn't more of something that I created, but something that like I gave back that lets other people the ability to create.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like another thing I was noticing, because I saw how you was breaking down like certain elements of the thing as well, and you mentioned was it appreciation?
Yeah.
That you mentioned. I thought it was like really cool.
Yeah,
you
the
was
5
even
gates.
You was even mentioning how, like, you know, it doesn't matter like what you have, if someone have something they proud of it, they want to show it off. Yeah. Like, you could be like that medium for that. Yeah. And I think that's cool because like appreciation is like that next step, you know, because it's part of like the pride, you know. Oh, I made something, blah blah blah, feel good about it, and when someone else receives that and be like, yeah, I think it's dope too. Like, I think it builds people.
Exactly.
Like, builds people. So I thought that was another cool element of that.
So like Trez said there, are you like one of those people that like thrives on people like telling you, oh, that's an awesome idea, or like things like that?
For
like,
sure. Like, I like to.
Do you like to flaunt your stuff?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I gotta flex a little bit.
I just because that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that internal pride that you have, but it's also key that other people are also feeling what you felt when you made it and when you finished it. And it's also cool, you know, though there are negative times, you know, you get critics and everything. Yeah. Everyone's a critic, but when someone feels your art or something you do in another way, in another perspective that maybe you didn't even notice, but you open like their eyes to something that you created, and it's like, wow, like I learned something from my own thing from someone else. Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's dope. And that appreciation factor, you know, the last of the 5 pillars, like that is the sweetest part, which why I say appreciation over love in that sense, where it's just more of a satisfactory feeling.
Yeah, like that's why when I read it, like it just like it resonated a little bit, because that's how I feel. Because I'm one-on-one, kind of like David mentioned. It's like, I mean, yeah, I'm cool, calm, collected, down to earth, but like sometimes, like, hey man, appreciate me.
Yeah, like when you get the opportunity.
Yeah, so at the same time, so since I like that, I put forth that out. So like when I'm talking to people, I make sure, oh, you know what's going on, blah blah blah, you good, blah blah blah. Or even if something as simple as like what someone might have on, what some did, but that was cool. Like, that's why I try to put that out there. Like the things that you want, you put forth as well, so other people can like pick up on that. Yeah. So like when I saw that little segment, I'm like, hey, like I like that. Because a lot of people don't really do that. It's more like when we celebrate certain things, But it's like you do things, they take it in. All right, cool. What's the next thing?
Yeah,
right,
like they just want to move on.
Yeah, like
sit
what's the
there,
next thing?
Like, appreciate like what you did.
Yeah, like you drop a fire mixtape. All right, cool, man. This thing was dope. When the next project?
Yeah, when's the next one?
And that's why people like Future, you know, they're just dropping stuff one after the other, and because it's about like a volume at that point.
Yeah, and I'm like, please don't.
Not
like,
saying that volume. Not saying that Future's a bad artist.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Future's great.
Future's Future.
But he definitely melded into what the mainstream media is today, and that is like having to be a volume artist, you know, more than anything. So.
And like sometimes like things will like go over people's heads because like you consume it. That's it. You move on to like he dropped 2 projects in 2 weeks, and don't get me both projects have like at least 17 songs.
I was listening to it on the way here.
So actually, it's like them odd moments because first of all, how Future is, you listen to one project, it just sound like a 4-track compilation thing. Like they all kind of mold into one. So you have that element, and the fact that you just consume this mud real quick to move on to the next thing is like you forget like certain little parts and pieces. Right. I mean, but it's a fine line. Yeah. And there's also some artists, it's like, yo, like we've been out here, like we starving, like we're So like, but like it makes it better because you appreciate when you get something.
Yeah, exactly. Like that Frank Ocean deal. Do you know about that? Like Frank Ocean was wild, and like he was like, I remember. It
was like, where he at?
Yeah. And then it was like crazy on social media. Social media was flaming him, right?
I was going crazy.
Yeah, like, I was going crazy. I found myself liking Frank Ocean a lot more. Yeah, which is weird, right? And it was almost the same thing with The Life of Pablo too. You know, because Kanye was flexing on the release and, you know, Kylie and that whole idea. And it's like when he finally dropped it, there's this crazy satisfactory feeling and you had to get the album now, you know what I mean? Even if it was on title, you know, an exclusive, you know, streamer.
I did get that album like right when it I was like,
I mean, I ain't gonna front, man. I talk about people about riding aways and being sheets, but I still have title now. Yeah. Because, like, I don't know, I really do the Apple thing and title just works for me and I like the layout. Yeah. But, you know, that's a whole nother thing. Exactly. But yeah, I think like that appreciation is important because we're not really doing that. It's more like, oh, here we go. I got it. Boom. What's the next thing?
Yeah. I also want to say, like, I think it's the people. I think we're starving. Man. Yeah. Like, we're learning not to appreciate things. We're learning to, like, okay, you got an A on this test. Yeah. Like, better start studying for the next test.
Yeah, like, use that test for this one coming up.
Yeah. And it's just the people, how we're, like, learning about these things.
Yeah. So like definitely, I thought, it's not a step back, but it's more like a reflective piece. Yeah. Because appreciation is all about like reflecting on it. Yeah. So but like any tips that you can give to people that feel like they're not that creative.
There's a lot of people that feel that way too. You know, there's a lot of people you ask like, you know, what's creative about you or what do you have as creative? And it's like, I'm not creative.
Do you think that's true?
That's not true.
That's not. Yeah,
every single person.
Yeah. So what you think it is?
Yeah. So it's like, firstly, like everybody has improvisation. Firstly, you know, in any situation that you have as a human being, you have instincts to survive or to get that person you like, or you know, be creative to get the highest amount of return that you can get. And my advice to people like that is, you know, if you the first thing you can do is shoot yourself down, because when you shoot yourself down, you're your worst enemy. And if you already don't believe yourself from the jump, how in the world are you going to give yourself the opportunity or the chance to be creative? You know, so you can't shoot yourself down firstly, like. And you have to think about things through. You know, you may run into roadblocks. You know, you may fall into some pits, but you're going to find a way out of it. You know, it's not the end of the world, you know, but being able to capitalize on opportunities is entirely up to you. And if you fail, you fail. But so what? You know, Michael Jordan has that famous poster, you know, missed a bunch of shots, you know, but who is Michael Jordan, right?
Like we were talking about failure last week, is how like failure is key. But like right now, the way things are, we try to avoid failure at all costs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I think of it like failure is either you take it the right way or you take it the wrong way. You either learn from it or you stay there. You stay failing.
Yeah. And I like how you mentioned that, like, you know, someone said not creative. Like, that's not true. Yeah. I think sometimes people, like, when they think about creativity, they think about certain things. Like, when you say someone creative, I think, oh, they do art, they do music, you know, they might play a certain instrument. you know, they might be like athletically gifted or something like that, and that's like it. They don't think about like the simpler things, like can you color coordinate?
Right.
You know, are you a fresh individual? You know,
are you organized?
Yeah, like are you a good barber? Can you cut hair?
Even how you
can
speak.
you do a mean line?
Yeah, like how is your wordplay? You know, even having to have conversations with people, like you may be able to get through a certain conversation that someone else may not be able to get through, and that has a lot to do with your own experiences.
Yeah,
you know, and your experiences do thrive on that creativity, and people need to give themselves a little more credit. You know, give yourself a pat on the back, like you're alive to this day.
Yeah,
you listen to us talk right now, like
certain things important, because a people person, like a lot of people gotta think about how much goes into that, because you know that type of person that can like go into a crowd and just make it work.
Yeah,
like there's a certain form of talent and creativity, because you got to think of how do I approach this person, how do I approach this person. Exactly. Or there's a conversation rolling, how do I keep it going? Like there's a certain level of talent and creativity, because you could just be dry and talk about weather and talk about classes.
Yeah. And are you going to do that though? Like no, like you're going to do something
else.
Right?
They get dry.
And then even you get tired of it. You know what I'm saying? You got to do something different. So
So it's definitely different avenues. But like back to the website, what kind of motivated you to start that? Like your network?
Yeah,
in
like
general?
what were you thinking? Like
so I mean, ever since high school, I made this group of my friends. We were friends, but I just feel like it was cool having like a team name.
Yeah,
you know, like the Bros or whatever.
Yeah,
so
cool.
We called ourselves Sector Sigma.
Okay.
And it was derived from my comic book that I was still making called Aura of Chaos, and Sector Sigma was like Sector 3, but 3 backwards, whatever. But it was just cool because people love being a part of something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
People, it's that having a connection. You know, you may have an introvert or an extrovert, but when they become a part of something, they almost feel like they get an identity. And it's like, even though it's like not their whole identity, it definitely becomes like a piece of them. And then my friends like had something to like call back to. It's like, you know, I'm part of Sector Sigma, like that's my team, that's my group, you know.
Yeah, you want to rep something.
Yeah, repping, exactly. You know, it goes back to gangs, and it goes back to music labels, and it goes back to being part of like fraternity, you know, like people love that kind of thing.
That acceptance.
Yeah, being accepting, exactly. So I did that, and that, you know, it died out, the name did, and it lost traction. So I made Cross and Dagger in 2015, and those was like the same kind of mindset. Like they were just my friends, and I just put a name on it, and the name is just kind of popped up. But like there's no deep meaning or anything behind Cross and Dagger. And someone always asks me, is it religious? You know, and it's not. It's just something cool. But yeah, I wanted to make a network, a foundation for people to be successful, because when you give something a name and an end goal, it kind of makes what you're doing a little more real.
Yeah.
You know, it makes the thing that you want to do real. And I keep saying whatever project I'm doing, like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, put it in the universe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So making something like a website is almost like it's a real thing now. You know, I want to make Cross and Dagger. Hell, when you type crossanddagger.org, there it is on the screen. You know, and it's like now it's like a real thing, whether it's successful or not. You know, at the end of the day, I made it and created it.
Yeah, it's also like a level of accountability.
Yeah,
it's like you might have them days, oh man, I'm shaky, whatever. But like you see it right there, you'll be accountable to that. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. So like so far, like. Because I know so far, you know, of your age, now you've probably been doing things and hitting roadblocks. Is there any, like, certain things you probably, like, regret or you would do differently if you could, if you know what you know now?
Yeah, for sure. Firstly, the most obvious one is I'm, like, rushing, like, in this last semester of my college life, you know, to use all the college services and to be fluent in Cross and Dagger, you know, and have it be a fluid not corporation, but network. And I wish I would have started that a little earlier. You know, it may not be to the same degree of stress that we're doing now, but still be moving in that sense. And at first it was just a name, it was just existing, but it didn't have any momentum. And I wish that I pushed that, something that I made creatively, and have that coincide with working and going to school. Because when you're just working and go to school, your life becomes a little stagnant, becomes a little repetitive, and it gets dull. And now that I'm doing Cross and Dagger, it's like, my life's like full of color, you know, not to sound lame,
but it's like at the last minute. So it's like, I feel that to the highest degree, man. And it's, I don't know, it kind of makes me sad, but it's not like a super like teary eyed sadness. It was kind of like a
just like, man, I wish I could go back.
Do it different. Yeah, most definitely. So I definitely agree with you. And like going back to that, I like how you mentioned how like it's not a business and it's not a nonprofit. It's like a network. I feel like network is like more like outstanding in that element, because like It's like most things is who you know.
Exactly.
So if you know certain people, like even as you go down in life, they might triple on to something. But hey, blah blah blah, this and that.
Yeah.
And like you can learn from other people. So I think it was cool how you worded it exactly like that.
And it took some crafting for sure. You know, first I did call it a company, and then I did call it a nonprofit. And the reason I was jumping back and forth is because people wanted to put a name on things, and they want to label things, and that's just human nature because you want to be able to understand it more.
Yeah.
And you want, you know, and when I explain what Cross and Dagger is, people want a concise, clear message on what it is and what you guys do. And we had to, you know, clear that up a bunch of times. And so when I said network, like, that makes the most sense. You know, it's about more the people that I do, the more people that, you know, the more the things that we do and the people that we meet, more so than like what we're like all about in the foundation. Like it's more about, you know, talking and connecting, and the projects that we do on within the Cross and Dagger and externally is what's most important. So.
Cool. And like you definitely plan on keeping it going after graduation, right?
For sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and that also with being a network, it's a lot easier to sustain because you're not paying a light bill, you know, you're not paying, you know, people off to do things, you know. When I meet someone, I think immediately, like, you know, you guys are my Cross and Dagger network. Like, even you guys, like, I meet you guys have, you know, this cool space and everything is like part of the Cross and Dagger network in terms of people that we know, you know, and that's what it's all about, because it's like you should be able to capitalize on every single thing that you do, see, and meet in your space because you're making the most out of your time. Yeah. And that's how I feel,
Yeah, and I feel like each person has that little thing, like kind of like little gems, and you can like pick it up from people. Because you might have like that one person that just like inspires you with positivity, and you have that one person that like inspires you to get on your business game. And you might have that one person, like, oh man, I need to start appreciating life more. Yeah, and I feel like that's what the importance of a network, because like you have the different elements coming together. So I thought it was a pretty cool idea.
So let me ask you, like, someone comes up to you, some like new artist or whatever, they just come up to you, to your network, and they ask, like, how do I get my project off the ground? What do you
what do we do? Like, what's our procedure?
Like, yeah.
Essentially, well, I mean, I learn more about them, you know, I learn about where they're trying to go, what's their end goal, kind of, you know, what they want to be, what's their brand, you know, and then, like, how serious are you? Because, you know, a lot of people are just like, I want to do it on the side, I want to do it full time. And that's really important because it shows us, like, how much work do we need to put into it, because when you get some other people involved, that's their resources and their time, right? And things become a little more slippery. So we have to figure out where they stand before anything. And then when we go into that and figure out what they're all about, we then make some kind of plan, you know, step procedures of this then leads to this step, you know, and then you can start doing this and then start doing this. Like, a lot of people just want to jump into it, right? But you got to start small, and then the little steps, you know, legalities, you know, being professional, quote unquote, and doing the things that you're able to do now so you can do the things that seem a little out of reach later.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there ever like moments within a network where it's kind of a we'll figure this out together type thing, where like someone might not have everything set in stone, but like within that network it can kind of help build onto something? Or is it just you got to kind of like know what you're doing first?
Right. So I like to say people can join us from the ground up, meaning they don't have to know anything, right? You can just have an idea or any kind of aspiration, and that can be the start of something. And even then, like, you may turn that one, like we also say, like when the Cross and Dagger, like your way, the path you thought you could be going may end up turning something else to fully utilize what skills you have already. So yeah, we do work with people straight from the ground that just want to jump in and start it, and then we do work with people that have been doing it forever.
Cool. Yeah, because I want to know, because sometimes, you know, like you mentioned before, you didn't really have much of an idea at first. And, you know, I told you I didn't really know as well. So, because sometimes if you meet other people, it can, like, inspire you or, you know, help you.
And we'll do that, too. Like, we'll, like, connect, you know, we'll find, the main thing that we first try to do is the first step of our 5 pillars is to connect. You know, we try to connect you with the best resources. And if we don't have it within our network, we're going to find that network or connection that can help you the most.
Gotcha.
And, you know, and that can be right there, you know. I mean, you may just need the right connection to get started. And if we can provide that, and if that's all you need, then we did our job. You know?
Cool.
So.
And how does the joining process go? Like, do they like go? Cause I saw on the website it said join, but like, is that like the main way to join?
It's not. I feel like it's just there for, just make it structured. No one really uses the join. It's more word of mouth. Again, like the website's more of a landing page to learn more about us, and it's more about stuff to that instead of me hearing me blab about it, you can just see me blab on the screen.
Right, you can just read it,
but a lot of the stuff that we do works just face to face.
Yeah.
But when people do use the join button, I'll reach out to them. I'll make that first step because a lot of the times it's making that first step, that initiative step with meeting someone that can help you is hard. Trying to go out of your way, quote unquote, to see someone can be a little, overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then I try to break the ice as fashionably and as easy as possible for both of us. Because even for me, it's a little hard, but I just go and do it because that's my job. I want to do it.
Yeah. Cool. Any like tips you can give out to people who's like probably kind of struggling with this element of just because you say sometimes it's hard to just put forth that effort. Like anything you could probably say that this can probably help you with the start of that.
So the initiative process, I mean, I say it's all really about your environment. So it's like if you're in an environment and it just doesn't feel right, trust your gut. Right. If it's like the guys on stage giving the speech, like I was at this dine-in or whatever, and the CEO of VF Corporation was up there.
Okay.
And I have this crazy fashion idea. I'm not gonna just run up to them afterwards and be like, hey, I want to do this fashion thing. But that's not gonna be your only opportunity to do things. And you should definitely. But when you do feel it, when it feels right.
So do you feel like it's timing? Like
it is timing. It's all about timing.
Everything lands at a certain time and place.
Yeah, and also with environments, even the environment feeling kind of iffy. Like sometimes you just like, well, not necessarily with a group of people. You hear someone talking, you're like, man, I don't think I get down with that. Like it kind of helps you know where you need to go because it's the opposite of what's going on.
Because if you're not comfortable, and everyone has their own barriers, and you should break through some of them, but you do have some barriers there for a reason. It's to protect yourself, and you should definitely take knowledge of those. But there are some things like taking that first step that you should do. So when the environment does feel right, but you're just scared, sometimes I wouldn't say just get over it, but maneuver around and improvise to where it does feel comfortable. You know what I mean? And you'll figure it out. You just gotta think through it.
Yeah, got you. Besides the website itself, is there like any other medias or things that you want to like put out there, like maybe like any other social medias, things like that, or like anything that you have personally?
I mean, Cross and Dagger is not all of my identity. I'm also trying to start a fashion line called the Model Concept, and the Model Concept essentially is at the base. The brand is all about knowing those around you and the perspectives, getting to know perspectives and getting to know what people come from. And the first thing is a video production is what I met with Paige with, and that's to build the brand. And then it goes into the fashion line because you can't just make a fashion line out the gate. You have to build.
Kind of like building the face.
Yeah, building the face, exactly. And then you want to make the shirts. And then you want to send it out after marketing it. So that's like my side project that I'm working on right now. And I'm also doing some agenting for this music group called Bloom. Bloom Live Music. Their album drops on the 19th. But, we're trying to market them and build their brand. And that's just more experience for me.
Cool. Yeah, so you got your hands and
they're full.
They're full.
They're full.
It sounds like an amazing project.
Yeah, I mean you have time to space yourself out for fun and enjoyment and stuff like that, or you one of the ones this is fun.
Yeah, are you just work?
Yeah. Everything I do is fun, man. And I couldn't do all.
Sounds like fun.
I couldn't do all these projects without enjoying myself.
Yeah, exactly. So, you'll be tired out. You'll be tired out.
Yeah.
But any last things you want to point out or say
plug yourself?
Well, my name is Jalen Johnson. Again, follow our social medias. They're all at Cross and Dagger. 8 Cross and the Dagger. Shout out to my girlfriend Sarah Lyles.
Hey, ain't that sweet? Get that sweet.
Yeah, but shout out to everybody from Cross and Dagger and the ambassadors and all my friends. The support has been crazy. So it definitely is.
Yeah, so now that I know, I'm definitely gonna keep it in the back of mine. Because stuff like that is cool.
Yeah,
and I need to keep just having myself involved in certain things. On one-on-ones, I like to keep going towards something.
Exactly.
So that's cool. That's dope. But like I say every week, if you want us to entertain you, we'll do that. Want us to inform you, we'll do that as well. I'm Trez.
I'm David.
And I'm Jalen Johnson.
Hey, hear from us next week.